With that, I'd like to move on to our first segment today, which is a great example of how focusing on public image within a club can help increase the club's membership, service output, and Rotary Foundation participation. I've spent some time chatting with our guest ahead of this, and I'm really excited to have him here to share his club's success story. In fact, I'm worried that we only have 15 or 18 minutes for this, because when we talked, we figured it was going to be a 20 or 30-minute conversation, and it was an hour and a half very quickly. So, I'd like to welcome the president of the Plano West Rotary Club in Plano, Texas, Alex Johnson. He's been a Rotarian for 19 years, the first 15 in the Plano Rotary Club, before he decided to move from that, which was the largest club in Plano, to the smallest, the Plano West Club, and has been an important part of the transformation of that club. Alex, thanks for being here with us today.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. It's an honor to be here. It was kind of funny when you said, oh, we had an hour and a half conversation. There's a few people here that I know well, and I saw the smile on their face. Yeah. I'm passionate about Rotary, so it's easy to get me talking.
Well, the only good thing about ending that conversation when we did is I had to go to the bathroom really bad by that point after an hour and a half. So I was okay with it, but otherwise I think we could have talked for several hours. You know, we only have about 15 minutes, so we'll get right into it here. You became club president in July of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. Could you share what your club looked like at that time and compare it with what it looks like today in terms of size, demographics, some of those details?
Yeah, definitely. Like everybody knows, the pandemic made everything crazy. I was president-elect, and my president actually fell off the face of the earth in March. So I had to formally start in March running board meetings. So that was fun. Well, as July 1st, 2020, we had 21 members. And we were what you would say a typical Rotary club. Of those 21 members, 18 were men, 19 were white. There were me and a Pakistani friend that I recruited. We were the only non-white. Our median age was 67 years old. And I think I was like 52 or 53 at the time. And I was considered obviously one of the young people in the club. Well, fast forward a year, by July 1st, 2021, which was 6-7 months ago, we had 63 members. So we tripled our membership. We went from 14% women to 52% women. So we're a majority woman club. We went from 10% non-white to 52% non-white. And our median age dropped from 67 to 50 years old. And our age range was between 18 to 50. We actually had 9 college students in our club, and they were all members of the Rotaract Club. So one of the things I was always proud of, we had more Rotaractors in our Rotary Club who are Rotarians than any of the Rotaract clubs we had in our district. We also had a lot of diversity, not just in race, but we had immigrants from 7 different countries. We changed our religious diversity from basically being 100% Christian. And you're thinking, those are Christians saying, what's wrong with that? Well, Rotary wants us to represent our community, and Plano is not a 100% Christian community. Actually, I think I read something like 47% of the community identified themselves as Christians. Well, now we have members from Islam, Hindu, we have Christians, we have agnostic as well, and we also have members in the LGBT community. So we went from not diverse at all, very small, to complete diverse. Actually, our diversity numbers are bigger. We're 58% women now, and we're now the largest club in Plano. So it's been quite a culture shock and big change for what we did. And Rotary said we were the fastest growing Rotary club in the United States as well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal numbers that showcase the growth of your club, and I like the fact that you've kept score to a certain point of looking at what those demographics are, so you know how things are improving. Obviously, without keeping score, without tracking progress, you don't know where you're going. So obviously, this didn't happen by accident. Results like that just don't happen because we wish them into existence. How did you go about developing goals and strategies to grow? What kind of resources did you use?
I love that question because a lot of people try to give me credit for it, but actually, I'll tell you who my number one advocate, mentor, advisor in Rotary is, and everybody knows her, Emily Tucker. She's a genius, and she was very, very, very instrumental in helping me prepare to be president. And part of that was focusing me on novel concepts, Rotary's vision statement, Rotary's mission statement, the object of Rotary. And a lot of people don't read those, but if you do, and if you actually look at, what we're about formally, it's about service. I mean, if you look at every document of Rotary, it focuses on service. So that's what we did. We focused on community service. And then we also, one of the many great things about Emily, you think she paid me for this, but she introduced me to the action plan before the Rotary action plan, before it actually got publicly released. So we were able to work with Tom Thorfinson and his group. And so we actually implemented the Rotary action plan, from each 4 priorities as a club. So that was our strategy, which everybody here knows is Rotary strategy. And then to do that towards service, because that's where the object of Rotary is pushing us. So we actually completed 75 service projects last year, and that's how people joined us. We made them available to the public. Of those service projects, 80% of the people there were not Rotarians. They were members of the public, so they would volunteer with us, and then they would ask how to join.
It's incredible, and going back to the whole service, which is so front and center in everything we do, and just getting people excited about being part of something. Everybody wants to make their community better, and locking into, hey, we're the people that do that in the community. So obviously making those changes, increasing service opportunities, everything like that are great, but public image has to be front and center, because if nobody knows that you're doing all these things, you don't have the ability to engage the community, attract people to the club to participate, and eventually become members. What were some of the things you did or have done along the way to promote the club and your activities within the community?
Great question. I assume majority of people here have some experience in business. And something, we had John Huco speak to our club last year, and he made a statement that Rotary is a business. And if you just run the numbers, what we pay on dues, it's about a $140 million business from his perspective. Well, Rotary clubs are as well. And we're a business. And what is our core product? It's service. And who's our target market? It's the community. So if you just look at any business and you have a product, how do you let your target market know about it? It's through marketing and public relations, which is public image. And so it's the vehicle that we accomplished everything. And and I know a lot of people here, anybody knows and loves Pam Blankensee. She handles our district as well. She's awesome. We're a club runner website, just like everybody else. Well, I gave her a business wireframe. I mean, this is a wireframe. Anybody that does website design, it's, the structure of designing a website. I designed it for us to have a lead generator website where our call to action was service. And Pam did it on Club Runner, which is the most kludgiest website design product in the world. But our website, anybody take a look at planowest.rotary.com, and you will not know that it's a Club Runner website. And when you look at it, the number one, if you look at the call to action, it's find service projects, 5 different buttons on our website. So when people go to our website, they're finding service projects. We had a very aggressive social media campaign. Once again, public image. We actually publish every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook messaging about our service projects. So it's sending everybody to our website to sign up for our service projects. And when you do that 3 times a week on all those platforms, the community takes notice. And so we get a lot of people that found us on Facebook. They sign up for a service project because that's the product we're selling, and they find out about our club. But the key is unlike most Rotary clubs, we don't brag about ourselves. We don't put pictures of how great we are and the big checks. It's about sign up for the service project. So when people in the community, that's what they want. Nobody wants to hear about how great your Rotary Club is, but they want to hear about how they can serve and help their neighbors. And people just embrace it and then they join us. So PI is critical.
And you've used and you have a database of people that have volunteered in the past and reach out to them as well, right?
We have over 700 people in our volunteer database, and the majority of them are not Rotarians. Some people here may get it. We put out a monthly newsletter. All it does is talk about our upcoming service projects. And we do on average 6 to 7 service projects every month. And they just click a button, they sign up for the service project, and they show up. And we have a registration team that takes care of the details. So that's if anybody saw that article in August of 2021, there was the center page article was about our Rotary Club in the Rotary magazine. And one of the quotes they said is, which is true, we're a service project assembly line. We pump out the products and we look for people to buy it. But, they buy it by just joining the service project and serving.
Absolutely. And I like that, the service project assembly line. And I've often thought about Rotary as a great incubator for ideas as well. So they kind of come hand in hand, where anybody that has an idea, but we're a great organization to let someone run with that idea. And it is, once you get it to where you're going, it is an assembly line at that point. So a couple, I think 3 final questions that I think are somewhat related. I'm going to ask 2 of them after my preamble here, and then I'll come back to the last one. But these all stem from the fact that some of our audience today may be looking at what your club has accomplished and the activities behind it and be overwhelmed, thinking it's too difficult, or, we don't have the time, energy, resources. We don't have an Alex. How do we do this? And so first, I would ask, what's one failure you've had along the way and how did you deal with it? Or what's one challenge you're still facing as well?
Lots of failures and lots of challenges, but I'll focus on one. I love failure because that's the only way I learn. I guess I learn through other people's successes, but when I screw up, I'm definitely looking for how am I going to do better next time. One of the things that was challenging, I ended up having to become president for the second year because we added over 40 new members and none of them wanted to be president. And our other club, everybody had already been president already. And, the typical what happens in a Rotary club. And my failure, which now I know, I should have started off the Rotary year by putting in a committee to a nominating committee for a president-elect and president nominee. And because I didn't do that, when it came for election time, nobody was interested. I took one for the team, so I'm president second year. So this year we did do that. We started a nominating committee. So we actually had 2 people run for president-elect, of which that's another failure. You're supposed to do your president nominee, not your president-elect. And so we end up having to elect our president-elect, 6 months before she took office. But we had 2 people running for that, and we had 2 people running for president nominee. And I've only been in this club 5 years. I've been told they can't remember the one time we've ever had multiple people running for the offices. So that was, I would definitely I always encourage clubs to do that. Put together a nominating committee quickly so you could have the whole year of grooming, preparing. So when December comes around, you could select your president nominee and have a slate instead of just begging and pleading a new Rotarian that doesn't know any better.
I think, or going the example that Melissa from the Chicagoland said in the chat, we pulled our names out of a hat this year for president-elect and president nominee, which, that's even better.
Or you take it like me. I'm actually in my 23rd month of being president because I started early. I would never put that on anybody, no. Especially for a club that's as active as ours.
No. So I think going back to those, well, I'm going to ask Scott's question first. With so many projects, 75 of them, do you see 20% of the people doing 80% of the work, or
no?
Is it the fact you're pulling in people from outside, that helps.
Well, the work is really done by the community because 80% of our volunteers are the community, because we don't, even though we have 65 members, we do 6 projects a month. You know, and some of them we cap out at 10 volunteers, some are longer, so, or bigger. So yeah, the work is done by the community, and that's why they join us. But in our club, which it's got pros and cons, we have so many new members, we get people in leadership quickly. We don't have all these rules and regulations. Like, for example, I have a 18-year-old and a 20-year-old on our board of directors. You know, our club secretary is 20 and we have an 18-year-old, you know, and both of them are superstar interactors, rotaractors, and, you know, it's not gimme rules. And in fact, you guys probably know my club secretary, Zane Carlson. You know, he's an awesome dude, you know, and so we put young people, new Rotarians, we don't limit leadership by how long you've been around. And so that gets people involved. Then we also encourage people to tell us about their passions. So if they have, because we collaborate, we create very few projects from scratch. We partner with school districts, the city. In fact, we're strategic partners with both of them, other nonprofits, and we just say we're sweat equity. We you know, there's time, talents, and treasures. We have no treasures, but we have time and talent. So we tell everybody, if you want somebody to write a check, go to another Rotary Club, because we're not a check writing club. We're a hands-on, we want to get things done. And so when you partner with another organization like a nonprofit, well, they know the need. And so we just provide the hands and we do whatever they need in order for us to be trained.
Sure. So lastly, just what would you, so let's look at just, okay, you got all these things you can do to start the ball rolling in the right direction. What would with 3 things, it becomes more manageable for people and they can build on those successes. What would you recommend as the top 3 things a club should do to not only start thinking about more service projects, but also how to promote them effectively?
Well, overall, clubs need to know about the Rotary Action Plan. It's really a phenomenal framework, and that's not one of those 3. But start small. Everybody, you know, I am not a proponent of the signature project concept. And when you look at our membership decline, I don't think it's working well. But you could go small and pick up trash, you know, work at a food bank, get some people to do it, you know, help out at an animal shelter. There's so many little things that don't involve a lot of planning, but everybody wants to do it. You could get your friends and family and neighbors to do it easily. Do it little. That's what we do. We do a lot of little things. So I say start small. 2, collaborate, partner with organizations, partner with other Rotary clubs, really, which I know Tom's not going to want me here to say this, but partner with those new clubs that are formed. They want to work with you and they want your mentorship and your guidance. Obviously, Tom's not upset about that, but but that's key. Partner, partner, partner. And if they could partner with a veteran Rotary club and actually do things, that gets them excited. You know, I always tell everybody, when a Rotary club is successful, we're all successful. When a new Rotary club fails, Rotary fails. And so partner, and it's not just new clubs, it's any club. Partner with Rotaractors, Interact clubs, churches, your city. Keep it easy. So that way you may show up with 2 people, they show up with other people. It's a great service project, so it doesn't seem overwhelming. Then the last thing, which from a membership perspective, this is key, open it up to the public. Everybody, I had some people say, well, are you allowed to do that? Like, Rotarians think they can't let non-Rotarians be involved in projects. Well, that's exactly why nobody's joining a Rotary club. You know, open it up so they can see that we're inclusive, we're fun, we want to serve in the community. We're more than just doing lunch or dinner and, you know, having a good old boy or a good old woman crowd, and we're about changing lives. And so those are the big 3. Collaborate, start small, open it up to the public. And from a marketing perspective, advertise your service projects on all levels of market, social media, all the time, because this is the key. People are shy about talking about their club too much. Well, that's because you usually want something or you're bragging about something. But if you're talking about help us serve the community, you can never do that too much. No one's going to say, you're just helping too many people. What kind of Rotary Club are you? No. So just have service projects and ask people to help you, and they will love it, love it, love it, and they will join you. I know that was more than 3, Kyle, but
hey, that's all right. I think those are all easily attainable, and certainly, and I know we got a couple questions coming in. We'll ask those at the end as well. But thank you so much for being here. It's exciting. A few months ago, when somebody said you have to have Alex on one of these webinars, and I said okay, and then learned a little bit more about you. And then when you and I were able to connect, and I'm excited to meet you in person and just go from there, because I think what your club has done, it's a pretty easy recipe if clubs want to take parts of that, and public image is obviously front and center in the whole strategy, and great things happen because it's not only about the club growing and everything, but the amount of impact you're making on the community is significant as a result. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. Alex, will you go ahead and put your contact information in the chat box here as we go on as well? And if you have questions, remember, go ahead and send them to me. We'll ask them at the end. But now we're going to